If we can provide continuity of work, then that's got to filter down to employees, retaining them, and to actually apprentices that are looking up, where do I work? Do I work in a construction industry where I might be unemployed in 14 months? Or actually, no, there is a programme of work there. So if we can offer that continuity, that security, then I think actually it'll be a good draw to future trainees.
Now, on that point, I think that's a really, really good point, and it's something I've seen firsthand when I've been working in Newham and other places on a long-term basis on regen work. What you can create is not only the apprentices and the trainees of various types, it's a settled workforce. So your subcontractors, your suppliers, etc. When they look down the line saying, we've got hundreds of homes to be built in this particular area, they're going to be much more encouraged, much more likely to recruit locally.
Hello, I'm Toby Fox from 1.5 Million New Homes, the local government challenge sponsored by Loft and Bugler Developments. And I'm visiting a different council every month to find out what works and what needs to change to get more homes built. And this month I've come to Stevenage. And I'm visiting the Oval, one of the many significant regeneration and housing delivery projects underway in Stevenage. And I want to find out about some of the challenges that projects like that face. In particular, the skills challenge. How can we recruit enough people to deliver schemes on this scale? To answer that question, I've come to meet Andy Bugler from Bugler Developments, the contractor, and Ahmed from Stevenage Borough Council, the client, and Sam Phelps from Loft, an advisor.
I'm Ahmed, Stevenage Borough Council's Chief Development and Land Officer. So, it's a real issue for us, but on a positive side, we've got masses of development going on in Stevenage, and our expectation is that we align those contracts with our partners. So we've got a programme called Stevenage Works initiative with Job Centre Plus and North Arts College, where we meet, discuss what the priorities are, where the gaps are in learning and in opportunities for young people leaving school. And then align some of our building contracts to actually offer a social value contribution towards those, so people actually get genuine work placements, recognise skills and qualifications at the end of it. So on a job like this, which is the Oval...
so this is the estate regeneration, 300 odd homes?
340 odd homes, you're right, with massive retail elements and community infrastructure along with that. Our hope is that it won't just be construction skills, but it'll be actually project management skills, some design work as well, perhaps working with architects. So we open up the full gambit of the construction industry, not just the bricklaying or the hard work side of things.
And have you got a sense of the requirement? How many of those bricklayers and architects and all those other skills are going to be needed to deliver your programme?
Yeah, it's frightening when we look at it that way. I read a lot about the shortage of labour, bricklayers, of plumbers in the industry, but certainly I think on this site alone we're going to have around 100 full-time equivalents at any one time working on it when it's mobilised fully, and that's going to be a big draw on local labour, but surrounding Hertfordshire as well. But that's where those skills programmes are really key, because we'll get some benefit for this scheme, but for the next scheme, there's 6 or 7 other projects similar to this in Stevenage that we could deliver as part of that 1.5 million new homes initiative. And that's where, if we plant the seeds now, we'll get dividends later on.
Thanks. Sam, tell us who you are and what you do, and what is your experience of local authorities elsewhere developing programmes like this? Is Stevenage's a kind of common approach?
Yeah, so I'm Sam Phelps, and I'm a senior development consultant at Loft. I think so. I think Stevenage Works is similar to a similar one that I worked in Hackney, and they had really good links with contractors like Bugler and others, where even they were able to put in like supported interns and things like that, and sort of links to curriculum with local authorities as well and schools. I think that's been quite a key thing.
But it's about the durability of those links, isn't it? It's not necessarily about a sort of one-off initiative.
And I think, Ahmed, you were talking about how, apprentices, like a lot of local authorities might say, we need an apprentice for 52 weeks or something like that. And actually, the bricklayer might only be there for 26 weeks. So if you've got lots of programs all around Stevenage, then you're going to be able to have them, going from one site to another and actually getting that whole experience.
So how does this translate from your perspective as a contractor, Andy, and the skills that you need to deliver your programme?
Yeah, there's different types of skills. Obviously, there's the as a main contractor, which is commonplace in the construction industry. Everything is really subcontracted out, so you rely on partners, subcontractors, people you've worked with for many years, but they're not working directly for you. So, our own internal skill set is obviously on the planning, technical management, QS, project management side, and we can obviously offer opportunities in that, which we have done on many occasions throughout London, and also more recently in Hertfordshire in Dacorum, and we're looking to do the same here in Stevenage. But when it comes to things both Ash and Sam have touched on, so when it comes to the trade side of it, it gets a little bit more complex. So any sort of initiative like Stevenage Works, we've had a very similar thing in Newham recently. Where they've set up a big training scheme linked to a number of colleges. We had a long phase of work, so we were able to bring people from one place to the other, and a number of them apprentices have been taken on now by the subcontractors. So that's a great. You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to say to the construction industry, to an individual subcontracting firm, right, there's an apprenticeship college up the road, you've got to take 4 on. Well, they won't, just for the market and the economics, etc., unless they need someone.
Yeah.
So the way we're doing it, and the way local authorities are going about this is right. It's not the overall solution to the problem, but it's a great start. It gets people interested in the industry, offers an opportunity to learn on the job, and in effect, it forces us to do it, and we can force our subcontractors to do it, and there's benefits all round by doing that. The doors are opened, and it's the only way at the moment.
What about the complexity of taking those people on, though? Because as Sam mentioned, you take someone on for a job, but that job might only last for 12 weeks, and their apprenticeship might go on for a lot longer than that. So how do you actually manage that complexity?
Well, there's some great organisations out there. I can name drop a few.
Yeah.
So J. Brennan Training is one. There's also Evolve. We work with both of them on a number of schemes. So that they're effectively umbrella companies who attract a number of apprentices. They'll pay for the enrolment, etc., and we pay them for their service. So if we say to them, which we invariably do, I've done one recently in Southwark, we've got a site down there. We've made a commitment. They've got the people. So more and more of them organisations out there would massively help the construction industry. And if they were funded and it was advertised that they were doing this, it'll be huge.
So Ash, is this the answer? Is this? I mean, Andy's already said it's not the answer to the whole problem nationwide. How much of the skills challenge can apprenticeships and Stevenage Works type programmes solve? And what else needs to be done?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good start, Toby. We know of masses of school leavers that are looking for placements and opportunities, and some of them, they need the first stage to learn about their skills and their industry, but part of it is just about motivating them to know that there's an opportunity out there to get them up in the morning, really. And part of the effort that the college puts in, the specialist workers put in, is about mobilising that individual, to acknowledge that they've got a contract in place, that they have to have the discipline to stick to that discipline, to arrive at work on time, to do their training for the full amount of the weeks, to the duration. And if they don't stick to it, they are kicked off the programme. So really, it's initiatives like that, they're a catalyst, because one friend tells another friend, and suddenly you've got a programme in a school that's generating 6 or 7 initiatives. And really for places like Stevenage, where we want to upskill our school leavers, to give them more vocational opportunities as well, it's crucial, really. We can't do enough.
What about in terms of procurement? Is there anything you can do as a council in terms of the length of the pipeline that you offer that would encourage more companies to take on more recruits because they had security of contract, of delivery?
So, I mean, I'm really glad that we've got a programme of development in Stevenage now. We've delivered 600 homes, we've got about another 700 in the pipeline. Alongside that, and the big number, we're investing 1.4 billion in our 8,000 homes that we own already. So that's huge value over the next 30 years. So there's an ample program there to actually get responsible developers to sort of enter into contracts over longer periods with us. But what each contract does is it raises the bar. Initially, let's say 5 years ago, our expectation would have been, oh, one apprentice is enough, or here's a donation of £10,000 towards upskilling initiatives. We're not interested in the money anymore. Although it's welcome, we actually want to see programs. Yeah, and that's the key.
So, Andy, what else needs to be done in order to solve this skills challenge that the house building sector faces?
So the current state of affairs, there is, in my opinion, as we sit with the current workload in the country, there are enough subcontractors, etc. There are enough people out there to do the work.
But that's because,
there's less work.
There's a lot less work going
now,
on.
Once this ramps up, we've got a big problem. Okay, I think CITB, I think they were talking about 250,000 by 2028, and
so that's the Construction Industry Training Board.
That's a shortfall. That's probably an underestimate. Okay,
right.
So I think there's a net loss of 10,000 construction workers a year, partly due to the ageing workforce and retirement.
Apart from yourself,
indeed,
getting younger every
indeed.
year.
Thank you very much. I was probably alive when this was built, but the second, there's a big issue facing construction is that we have obviously a large influx of European workers in the country, and whilst a lot of them have stayed with settled status, etc., the younger European workers are not coming, and those that go home for whatever reason, are not coming back. So that's a massive problem. We've got to try and, for a short-term issue, because once the industry does ramp up, there will be a shortage. And training schemes, etc., are fantastic, and we've got to attract Gen Z into the industry. There's no doubt about that. And make it sexy again, whatever you want to call it, because it is a great industry. But there could be a short-term problem in that sort of 4 or 5 year hiatus. So somehow we've got to encourage skilled European workers back here. I really believe in that, because apprenticeships, training, massive, really important, but that's going to take a long time.
How much of your workforce was from outside the UK before Brexit?
At least 50%.
Yeah,
we haven't. Can't say, you don't do a head count, because if you talk about the ownership of these businesses, they're probably still more UK.
Yeah,
but the people they're employing, there's an ever growing Eastern European workforce, and also a more highly skilled. Do you know what I mean? It was. It's been fantastic. It's kept the building industry going for the last 10, 15, 20 years.
But the recruitment into apprenticeships and recruitment from across the UK is not going to fill that 50%. And the numbers of people we need are growing every year because people are leaving the industry.
Yeah, I mean that's it's spot on. What can I say?
So Ash, what else needs to be done?
Thank you, Toby. Okay, no, I agree with everything that's been discussed here, but I think if this problem that we're trying to solve is how do we get 1.5 million homes built, then I think we have to look beyond just traditional build. I think traditional build has got a massive role to play, and I never want to lose it. But some kind of system built and AI involved in construction is something that I think local authorities and providers need to explore.
What are you doing to explore that?
Okay, so
Stevenage?
we're in the infancy stage on that, but reviewing what other people are doing, but looking abroad as well to see what lessons we can learn from there, and make sure that actually future training programs encompass that into it. How big that's going to go or where it's going to lead to, Toby, I don't know, but I think if the ambition is to build 1.5 million homes as quickly as possible, then there's going to be a segment there that we need to work on. And the other area is, of course, we need to make the industry a bit more attractive. I know of a number of subcontractors and contractors that talk about they go from job to job, and that's where that point you make about having a program is really crucial. If we can provide continuity of work, then that's got to filter down to employees, retaining them, and to actually apprentices that are looking up, where do I work? Do I work in the construction industry where I might be unemployed in 14 months? Or actually, no, there is a program of work there. So if we can offer that continuity, that security, then I think actually it'll be a good draw to future trainees.
Of course. Go on, Andy.
Now, on that point, I think that's a really, really good point, and it's something I've seen firsthand when I've been working in Newham and other places on a long-term basis on regen work. What you could create is not only the apprentices and the trainees of various types. It's the a settled workforce. So your subcontractors, your suppliers, etc. When they're looking down the line saying, "Oh, we got hundreds of homes to be built in this particular area," they're going to be much more encouraged, much more likely to recruit locally. We got subcontractors based in Luton, which is only 15 miles up the road from here. Guaranteed they'll be recruiting local Stevenage gangs and trainees, and that's having that long-term regen work. And it will obviously work in new towns when we come to that, and as will your volumetric. But that's another conversation for another day. So I'll pass the mic back.
Sam, closing remarks. What else needs to be done?
Well, speaking as a woman in construction, I think we could probably quite easily get some more women in construction. I had a bit of an unorthodox entry into housing development myself. My first job was at Stevenage Borough Council. And
that's not unorthodox.
Great place to work.
It is a great place to work. But I was there as a temp. So, and it wasn't, I was there in the voids team, learning about planned maintenance. It felt really, really good to learn on the job, I suppose. And then it was an individual who then said, "Well, have you thought about housing development?" And so that was the walk in. And then since then I've worked in, smaller housing associations, larger associations, and then over to Red Loft as well. So I do think opportunities like that for skilled people to come in that may not have even thought about that route before, I think would be good.
And you're a local, aren't you? So how do you feel about walking through the Oval Estate and seeing what's going to become of it and all the regeneration work the council's doing?
I think it's really exciting, and I know that it's been a bit flat over, I haven't worked here sort of 20 years ago for sort of 10 years, but even coming up the motorway and seeing all the cranes and it's definitely exciting for Stevenage. And I'm going to be here at the weekend. I'm here to go and see my niece perform one of the shows. So I've definitely got it's good for Stevenage.
Sam, Ash, Andy, thank you very much for your part in getting 1.5 million new homes built.
Thank you, Toby.
So that's it from another episode of 1.5 million new homes, the local government challenge, sponsored by Red Loft and Bugler Developments. And we're going to be back, though, in just a few days with more from Stevenage. So until then, hit like, hit subscribe. You won't miss those episodes. We look forward to seeing you then.